Yeah, hello everyone. Welcome to the session 7 of Theory of Computation or Formal Languages and Automata Theory. So, in this today's session, we are going to discuss about how to convert an NFA with epsilon moves into an NFA without epsilon. Okay, so in short, I would say we are going to learn about the conversion of NFA with epsilon into the NFA without epsilon. Okay, so before going to discuss about this concept, let us have a look on the concept which we have seen in the previous session. So in the previous session, we have seen what is NFA with epsilon transition, what is the necessity of NFA with epsilon, then the most important operation, that is epsilon closure, what is epsilon closure, and how do we calculate that epsilon closure. We discussed this concept in the previous session. Next one, how do we write the transition function, and then how to define the extended transition function for NFA with epsilon. And then we have seen some of the problems related to the construction of NFA with epsilon. So we have considered the three problems in this category. Uh, and then we have also discussed about how to check the acceptance of a string. Okay, so here we are going to use that epsilon closure before the transition, and once getting the result of transition function, we are again performing the epsilon closure. Okay, so these are the problems which we have seen in the previous sessions. Okay, now, in today's session, we will see how to convert that NFA epsilon into an NFA without an epsilon, right? So, in short, I would say simply eliminating the epsilon transition. Okay. So, here we can convert NFA epsilon into an equivalent NFA without epsilon by eliminating or by removing the epsilon transitions. Okay. So, how do we remove this epsilon transition? So, here uh, first thing is that you have to compute the epsilon closure of each state. So very first step during the conversion of NFA epsilon into the NFA without epsilon, the very first step is that compute the epsilon closure of each state in the NFA with epsilon. So whenever you are given a particular problem in which you need to convert the NFA with epsilon into the NFA without epsilon, so first what you need to do is you have to compute the epsilon closure of each state in the NFA with epsilon. Okay. Then next step is, if epsilon closure of a state contains the final state, then make that state as a final state in the NFA without epsilon. So after calculating or after computing the epsilon closure of the state, if that particular epsilon closure of the state contains the final state, then make that state as a final state in NFA without epsilon. Okay, so in the resultant NFA, what you need to do is that you need to mark that state as a final state. Okay, so let me explain with one example. So let me say I am having something like epsilon closure. So here I am having this epsilon closure of let me say Q naught. Okay. So epsilon closure of Q naught is equal to, let me consider as some Q1 comma Q2. So I am having the epsilon closure of Q naught as Q1 comma Q2, right? So here let me consider that here NFA epsilon, we are having that final state as Q2. Okay. So in NFA with epsilon, the final state is Q2. So here in the epsilon closure of Q naught, we are having the final state Q2. So we mark Q2 as a final state in NFA without epsilon. That means in the resultant NFA, we mark the state Q naught as a final state. Okay, because its epsilon closure is containing the final state which is given in NFA with epsilon. Okay, so that is the step number 2. And step number 3 is that after computing the epsilon closures and marking the final state, now we need to find out the transition for each state on every input symbol. Okay, so after computing that epsilon closure of the state and after marking the final state, then we need to find out the transition for each state on a input symbol. Okay, so one note point here is converting the NFA epsilon into the NFA does not increase the number of states. So it will not increase the number of states, but it is going to increase the number of final states. Okay, so this is the gate question. So conversion of NFA epsilon into the NFA without epsilon does not increase the number of states. So it only increases the number of final states. Okay, so we will see this concept with one example. So just try to do it on the paper here. So first thing, problem, convert the given NFA epsilon to NFA without epsilon. So here I'm going to denote NFA hyphen epsilon, which is considered as the given problem, that is NFA with epsilon, right? So whenever I refer the term NFA means it is NFA without epsilon, right? So whenever I refer NFA epsilon means it is NFA with epsilon. Whenever I say it is NFA, so it is nothing but NFA without epsilon. Okay. So here this is the problem in which we are having the epsilon transitions, right? So Q naught on 0 we are having self transition, Q naught and epsilon we are having transition towards Q1, and Q1 on epsilon it is going to Q2, and Q2 is having the self transition on 2. Okay. So now, how do we how do we write this solution for this particular problem? Okay. So here, the solution is, first thing, consider the given NFA with epsilon is some n is equal to q comma sigma comma delta comma q naught comma f. Okay. So it can be converted into NFA without epsilon transition as m is equal to q comma sigma comma delta comma q naught comma f dash. Okay. So here you could see here we are having a transition. We are having the same tuples except delta and f. So here you could see q in n and q in m is same. Sigma in n and sigma in m is same, but in n the transition function we denoted with a delta, and in m we denoted this transition function with delta cap. Why? Because there would be a change in the transition function, right? So in NFA with epsilon, it maps current state, current input along with epsilon to produce the next state, right? Whereas in NFA without epsilon, we don't have the epsilon transition. So to represent that difference, we use the delta cap in the resultant NFA, right? And next, starting state is same in both the NFAs. That means Q naught in NFA with epsilon and Q naught in NFA without epsilon. So both the starting state will remain same, right? And I mentioned earlier that the number of final state may increase in the resultant NFA. Okay. So whenever you convert NFA epsilon to the NFA, what will happen? One is the transition function will change, and next one is the number of final state may change. So that is the reason in the resultant NFA we are representing it with F dash. Okay, F dash means change in the final state. So remember these two changes. Okay, one is the change in the transition function, and next there is a change in the final states. Okay, because as I mentioned that when we convert NFA epsilon to NFA without epsilon, the number of final states may increase, right? So definitely there would be a change, right? The next one. Okay, so first thing is that you have to write like this. So n is the given problem and m is the resultant NFA in a mathematical representation. Okay, now step number one. Uh, First thing is that we need to compute the epsilon closure of each state. So in the previous session, we have seen how to compute the epsilon closure of a state. So here for this diagram, first compute the epsilon closure of Q naught. So epsilon closure of Q naught means, so first thing, first write down that state itself Q naught, comma, then find out the transitions from Q naught on epsilon. So Q naught and epsilon we are having a transition towards Q1, so Q1 will be added to the epsilon closure. And since Q1 is having an epsilon transition towards Q2, so we could say there is a transition, that means we can reach from Q0 to Q2 on epsilon. So add Q2 onto the epsilon closure of Q0 set. Okay. The next one, epsilon closure of Q1. So first add the state itself Q1, comma, since there is a transition from Q1 on epsilon towards Q2, so add that Q2 into the epsilon closure of Q1. Okay. The next one, epsilon closure of Q2. So epsilon closure of Q2 means first add this state for which you are calculating the closure, and since the Q2 is not having any epsilon transitions, so there are no states to be added to this epsilon closure. So this is the step number 1, where we compute the epsilon closure of each state. Okay. Then step number 2. So what we need to do is that, so once we find out this epsilon closure, we have to mark the final states. Okay. So how do we mark the final state means, what is the final state given in the NFA? What is the final state? Sorry, what is the final state given in NFA with epsilon? What is the final state given in the problem? That is Q2, right? So uh, if the epsilon closure of the state of any state contains this Q2, mark that state as a final state. Okay, in the resultant NFA. So I am repeating once again. What is the final state in the given problem? Q2, right? So if the epsilon closure of any state contains the Q2 as a member, then mark that particular state as the final state, right? So, where the Q2 we are having, Q2 is a member in the epsilon closure of Q0. So, in the resultant NFA with NFA without epsilon, the Q0 will be the final state. Okay, the Q0 will be the final state, comma, and next one we are having Q2 again as a member in the epsilon closure of Q1. So we are going to have Q1 as also the final state in the resultant NFA. Okay, so we are going to have the two final states in the resultant NFA. What are they? Q0 comma Q1. Why? Because the epsilon closure of these two states contains the Q2 as a member. Okay. So next one. So these are the step 1 and step 2. Then step 3, we have to find out the transition for each state on input symbol, on every input symbol. So what are the input symbols that we are having here? 0, 1. Okay, so 0, 1. So delta cap of Q0 comma 0, as I mentioned here, delta cap means we are referring the transition function in the NFA without epsilon here, right? So delta cap of Q0 on 0. Okay. So how do we write? So how do we write for this? As we know that, first calculate the epsilon closure of Q0. Okay. After that, perform the transition between the resultant closure and the input symbol. Okay. So first epsilon closure you need to perform. After getting the epsilon closure, you need to perform the transition on input symbol. Okay. And then whatever the resultant state that you get, you have to perform the epsilon closure once again, right? In the previous session, I mentioned this point, right? So before performing the transition, that means delta, we have to calculate the epsilon closure. Okay. After performing the transition function, whatever the resultant state that you get, again you have to perform the epsilon closure. Okay, 2 times, right? So what is the epsilon closure of Q0? As we know, Q0 comma Q1 comma Q2, right? So delta of, how do you write this? Delta of Q0 on 0 union delta of Q1 on 0 union delta of Q2 on 0. Okay. So in this fashion we will write. Okay. Because we are having 3 states, Q0 comma Q1 comma Q2. So we have to take the each state and check the transition on 0 and perform union with the remaining state. So delta of Q0 comma 0 union delta of Q1 comma 0 union delta of Q2 comma 0. So what is Q2 on Q0 on 0? It is Q0 itself. Q1 on 0, it is 5, and Q2 on 0, it is 5. So Q0 union 5 union 5. So what you will get? Epsilon closure of Q0. So what is the epsilon closure of Q0? Q0 comma Q1 comma Q2, right? So in the resultant NFA, what you need to do is delta cap of Q0 on 0 means you need to specify the transition towards these states. Okay. So we are talking about these things in the resultant NFA. Okay. Next one. What is the next input symbol that we need to check? 1. So delta cap of q naught comma 1. Okay. So how do we calculate this? Write down the epsilon closure of q naught comma 1, then perform the transition and then calculate the epsilon closure, right? So what is the epsilon closure of q naught? Again, q naught comma q1 comma q2. What you need to do? You have to write delta of q naught comma 1 union delta of q naught q1 comma 1 union delta of q2 comma 1. Okay. So q naught on 1 we don't have 5, q1 on 1 q1 itself, and delta of q2 comma 1 5. So what is epsilon closure of q1? Epsilon closure of q1 is q1 comma q2. So in this case I have directly written here q1 comma q2. So because as we discussed how to compute this delta gap, so in this second yeah, computation I have directly mentioned as q1 comma q2. Okay. So in this way we need to calculate the transition for each state on every input symbol. So the input symbols we can determine it from the given problem. So we are having the input symbols as 0, 1 and epsilon. So since we are considering the NFA without epsilon, so we need not bother about the epsilon. So what are the input symbols in your NFA without epsilon? 0 comma 1. Okay. So that is the reason we are calculating the transition for 0 and 1 from each state. Okay. Next one. So how to next? If we calculate delta cap of q1 on 0, you will get q1 comma q2. Delta cap of q1 on 1, you will get q1 comma q2. So this is the way in which we can calculate uh, q1 on 0 and q1 on 1. Yeah, one more symbol that we are having is 2, right? So 0, 1, 2 na. So delta gap of q0 on 2 is q2 itself. Delta gap of q1 on 2 is q2 itself. Next one. And finally, we are left with state q2. So delta cap of q2 on 0, it is 5. Delta cap of q2 on 1, it is 5. Delta cap of q2 on 2 is q2. Okay. So in this fashion, we need to calculate the transition function. Okay. So by using these transition functions, we need to draw the state transition diagram. Okay. So what are the f dash? What are the f dash? So f dash here. So first thing, what is the final state in the given problem q2? So in the epsilon closure of a state contains q2, mark that as a final state. So q naught epsilon closure we are having q2, then q1 epsilon closure we are having q2, and q2 epsilon closure we are having q2. So these are the final states. So q naught, q1 and q2. Okay. So these are the final states. So here we are writing f dash is equal to set of q naught comma q1 comma q2. Set of q naught comma q1 comma q2, right? So by considering these transition functions, we have to draw this state transition diagram, right? So what is the first thing? Delta cap of q naught on 0. Where it is going? It must go to q naught, q1 and q2. So three states. So q naught on 0 means q naught on 0 means q naught, q naught on 0 means q1, and q naught on 0 means it must go to q2. Okay. So by considering this, okay. Next, delta cap of q naught on 1. So q naught on 1, where it should go? q1 and q2. Okay. So q naught on 1, it should go q1 and q2. So q naught on 1, it is q1, and q naught on 1, it should go to q2. So q naught on 1, it should go to q2. Okay. So here we have represented. Okay. Next, delta cap of q naught on 2. Delta cap of q naught on 2. Where it must go? q2 itself. So q naught on 2, it must go to q2. Okay. Okay. So that's why we are having from q naught on q2, we are having 0 comma 1 comma 2. Okay. Then next, we have to specify the transition from q1. q1 on 0, q1 q2. So q1 on 0, q1 q2. So here q1 on 0, q1. Okay. and Q1 on 0, it must go to Q2. Okay. 0. So there is a change. I think there is a mistake in this one. So just add this 1 comma 0. There add 0 comma 1. Right. Next, Q1 on 1, Q1 on 1, Q1 comma Q2. So same, Q1 on 1, Q1, and Q1 on 1, it goes to Q2. Okay, same. Next, Q1 on 2, Q1 on 2 means it should go to Q2. So Q1 on 2 means it should go to Q2. Okay, so 0 comma 1 comma 2 from Q1, it will go to Q2. Then Q2 on 0, 5. So we are not having any transition. Q2 on 1, 5. We are not having any transition. Q2 on 2 means self. So self transition we are having. Self transition. So what are the final states? So all are the final states. Q0, Q1, Q2. Okay. Because epsilon closure of Q0, epsilon closure of Q1, and epsilon closure of Q2 contains the final state of N. Okay. So this is the transition diagram, state transition diagram, and this is the state transition table. Okay. So starting state is Q0, final state is Q0. Q1 is also the final state, and Q2 is also the final state. Okay. So these are the final states, and these are the transitions. So you could write delta cap. Okay. So delta cap. So just try to practice this problem here. Okay. So in this fashion, we can convert the given NFA with epsilon into the NFA without epsilon, right? So what you need to do is that you just follow the 3 steps. Okay. Compute the epsilon closure of each state. Okay. Then once you calculate the epsilon closure of a state, if the epsilon closure of any state contains the final state in the given problem, then mark that state as a final state, and then find the transition for each state on the every input symbol. That means you have to calculate the transition function on the this particular resultant NFA. The next one, converting NFA to DFA. Okay. So let me call it as this topic as equivalence of DFA and NFA. Okay. So for every DFA, we can have an equivalent NFA. Okay. So here we are going to discuss about conversion of NFA into the DFA. What it means, for every NFA, there exists an equivalent DFA that accepts the same language. Okay. So the language which is accepted by NFA, let me call it as L of N. So if L is a language which is accepted by L of N or NFA, then the same language can be accepted by a DFA D. So if N is an NFA and D is a DFA, how we can say that both are equivalent? If the language accepted by NFA is same as the language accepted by the DFA, then we can say that both NFA and DFA are equivalent. Okay. So for a language, we can construct the NFA as well as the same language can be accepted by a DFA. Okay. So here we are going to discuss how to convert the given NFA into the DFA, right? So for every NFA, there exists an equivalent DFA that accepts the same language. Okay. So here you could see here the second point. If you look at this point too, every language that can be described by NFA can also be described by a DFA. So whatever the language that can be accepted by the NFA, the same language can also be accepted by the DFA. Okay. So here I have mentioned some of the points which are important in the GATE examination as far as this particular subject is concerned. So if NFA has n states, then its equivalent DFA can have at most 2 power n states. So here it means whenever you convert an NFA into an equivalent DFA, the number of states will get increased. So what are the maximum number of states that you can have in the DFA equivalent to the given NFA? At most 2 power n states. Okay. So it clearly indicates that whenever we convert NFA into a DFA, what will happen? The DFA can have at most 2 power n states. That means the number of states will get increased in the DFA, right? And next one, if the NFA has n states, then equivalent minimized DFA can have 2n states. That means 2 into n states. So, once you convert the NFA into the DFA, and if you minimize the DFA, then what will happen? The number of states in the minimized DFA will be 2n. Okay. So what is minimized DFA? Minimized DFA is nothing but minimizing the size of the DFA with respect to the number of states. So we are going to remove the unnecessary states in the DFA, right? So when we remove the unnecessary states in the DFA, then it will become minimized DFA. So we will see how to convert a DFA into the minimized DFA in the coming session, right? So just think that when we convert the NFA which is having n state into the minimized DFA, then that minimized DFA can have at most 2n states. Okay. The next one, to convert NFA into DFA, we use subset construction algorithm. So we use this subset construction algorithm. So we will see what is this subset construction algorithm. So what is this subset construction algorithm? So just try to understand here. The subset construction algorithm starts from an NFA. So subset construction algorithm we use to convert the NFA into the DFA, right? So NFA into DFA. So first thing, consider that the given NFA is n. Okay. So here we are having the quintuple as like this Qn. So Qn is representing the number of states in the NFA. Sigma, that is input symbol. Then delta n, transition function in the NFA. Then Q naught, starting state, and Fn, set of final state in the NFA. So here I have denoted the subscript as capital N to represent the tuple related to the NFA. Okay. So Qn means number of states in NFA, delta n means transition function in NFA, and Fn is nothing but final state in the NFA, right? So these are the three changes that may occur when you convert NFA into the DFA. That means what are the attributes that may change? The first thing, the number of states will get changed. Okay. The transition function will get changed because the transition function of NFA is different from the DFA. Okay. Starting state will remain same, but the number of final states may change. Okay. Then next. So the goal of this subset construction algorithm is to generate the DFA from the given NFA, right? So DFA, which we are representing by using the 5 tuples here, again QD, number of states in the DFA, sigma, the input symbol, delta D, transition function in the DFA, and Q naught. So here you observed, here I have mentioned the Q naught in a square bracket, right? So whenever we are referring the state with enclosed in the square bracket means the state is related to the DFA. Okay, the state that we are referring is within the DFA. So whenever we enclose a state within the square bracket, it means we are referring the state of DFA. Okay, FD is nothing but set of final states. Okay, FD is nothing but set of final states. Okay, so here if you observe, we are saying that L of D is equal to L of N. That means language accepted by the DFA is same as language accepted by the NFA. Right? When we can say that DFA and NFA are equivalent, when the language which is accepted by the NFA is equal to the language which is accepted by the DFA. Then only we can say that the NFA and DFA are equivalent. Okay. Then here you could see the input alphabets of the two automata are same. That means sigma is same for the two automata. Okay. So there is no change in the sigma because the input symbols are same, right? Then Q naught, just we are representing it in DFA with enclosed by enclosing it in a square bracket, right? And QD. So what is QD? The number of states. So what are the maximum number of states in the DFA? It is 2 power Qn. Okay. As I mentioned earlier that if NFA has n states, then its equivalent DFA can have at most 2n states, right? So if Qn is the number of states in the NFA, and then the number of states in the DFA will be, that is QD is equal to 2 power Qn. Okay, so we will get exponent states. Okay, FD is set of all states of QD that contains at least one of the final state of Fn. Okay, so if the FD is set of all states, uh, FD is a set of all states of QD. That means FD means final states in the DFA that contains at least one member of Fn. Okay. The next one, transition function here. So just try to understand this transition function. So how we are writing the transition function? Delta D. Delta D is nothing but transition function in the DFA. Delta D of S comma A. S is some state. Okay. S comma A. A is input symbol. Okay. Is equal to union of P in S. P in S. Such that delta of N of P comma A. Okay. So what it means? So we are calculating the transition function for some state S. Okay. On input symbol A. So in order to calculate the transition function in the DFA, we need to refer the transition function of the NFA. Right. So from where we will get a transition function, that means transition for a DFA, we need to refer to the transition in the given problem NFA. Right. So what we need to do is that we have to go to the state S in the NFA, and if that state is having if that particular state is having multiple number of states, then what you need to do is that we need to perform the transition on individual state on input symbol and union it with the remaining states. Okay, so here you could here we could say S is having some number of states that is equals to or subset of Qn. Okay, for each input symbol A in sigma. Okay. So let me consider one example for this. Uh, let me take an example. Q naught Q1. Q naught Q1. Comma 0. So just try to understand this better. So I am writing here delta D of Q naught Q1. So it is a single state in the DFA, right? So we don't have the multiple transition, right? So in NFA we are having multiple transition, right? So in NFA we may have the multiple transitions, right? But in DFA we don't. So that is the reason what we are doing whenever we have the multiple transitions in NFA. So what we are going to do here is that we are going to represent that as a single state by closing in a square bracket. So delta D, that means transition function of D from state Q0 Q1 on 0. So Q0 Q1 are the different states in the NFA, but they are the single state in the DFA, right? So how do we compute this? So go to the individual state in the NFA. So how do we write delta N of Q0 on 0? Okay, union delta N of Q1 comma 0. Q1 comma 0. Okay. So what we are doing here? So since Q0 Q1 is a single state in the DFA, however, these are the two different states in the NFA. So we are calculating the transition function on each state separately, and we are performing the union on that. Okay. So here you could see delta D of S comma A, right? So if S is having the multiple states, let me call each state as P. Okay. So for example here, in first iteration, the P is Q0, right? In the second iteration, the P is Q1. So how do we write? Union of P in S delta of N of P comma A. So what we are doing, we are taking each state from S, performing the transition by looking the NFA, that is delta N of P comma A, and union it with the other state, right? So here you could see Q0 comma Q1. So in the NFA, how we are writing delta n of q naught comma 0 union delta n of q1 comma 0. Okay, so you will get the resultant state. So here you could see the example. So delta d of q naught comma q1 on A. So it is the single state. So whenever we are including the states in a square bracket, they are considered as a single state in the DFA. So q naught q1 enclosed in a square bracket is one state in the DFA, and we are calculating the transition function for that state on input symbol A. Then how do we write? So we have to refer the transition function of NFA. So write delta n of q naught on A union delta n of q1 on A. Why we are writing these two transitions separately? Why? Because these are the two separate states in the NFA. Okay, but we don't have the multiple transitions in the DFA. So that's why we are representing the q0 q1 as a single state in the DFA. Okay, so just uh, note these important points for this subset construction algorithm. We will apply this subset construction algorithm in the next session to convert the NFA into the DFA. Okay, we will discuss with one problem. Okay, followed by that we will see that minimization of the DFA. Okay, I hope the concept is clear. So if you can't able to understand this subset construction algorithm, no need to worry. So we will also discuss this same algorithm in the next session when we convert the given NFA into the DFA. Okay. So that's all for today's session. Just to practice the problems and just try to understand this algorithm once again and recall it for the next session. Okay. Have a nice day. Thank you for attending this session.